Hello, Internet. It is a little later in the day in which I recorded that first video. Um, I went over to a friend's house for a few hours. Tabletop role playing games, they're a good idea. I recommend them. But now I'm back home, and I was thinking, oh, I'll play League of Legends or City Sky or something. I don't know. I'll play a game. Nah. Let's work on Mysterious Space. Let's finish these. I was about to say let's spinach, because I'm looking at spinning, and I tried to combine spinach and can't even talk. Never mind. Let's finish these spinning fireballs. So I just posted the other video on YouTube, and as I was watching the beginning, just to make sure it sounded and looked right. I mean, I had tested the video before I uploaded it, obviously, but just wanted to double check. Anyway, as I was doing that, I noticed, and let me open up the graphics program again here, that I had shown off the fireballs, right? And that's great that they have these 4 frames of animation, but we're not using them. So before I do anything else, I thought I should use the 4 frames of animation for our fireballs. So here are spinning fireballs. Let's do this. It's real easy. I believe there is a sprite index. So, it's a sprite sheet. It's got 4 things. We want to be able to do any 4 of them. And if you remember when I was talking about how random numbers, sometimes it's not on this file. Where is it? Is it on Firestick? I don't know. It's somewhere. It's on level. It's on planet. Who knows? The random numbers generators, if you say generate me a random number up to 10, you actually get something that's 0 to 9. And here's a great instance where that is actually the behavior you want. Like before I was trying to do it for the fire stick length, and you're like, well, I don't actually want it to be one less than what I say. Again, because of how computers tend to count starting from 0, in this case we do, because we want either the 0th, first, second, or third sprite. There's 4 of them. You start from 0, so that's fine. So I'm just going to try this. I think it might be a little too flickery, but we'll take a look. So if I say next 4, I'm not going to get a number, like I could do this, same thing, whatever. I'm actually going to get a number that's either 0, 1, 2, or 3, and that's what I want. Here we go, max value. But again, it's lying to you. And I'm only like making a deal about that because if you're not super familiar with programming, that might not be a thing you know. This is like every programming language since I've been programming in like elementary school, so it's like not a surprise to me. But I always do find it a little. Again, it depends on what you're doing. Sometimes it's frustrating. You're like, can you just give me a number up to what I specified? When I said give someone between 10 and 100 gold, I said I want 10 to 100, not 10 to 99. So whatever. But we'll be fine. I should have done debugging mode so that I could find the fire stick, but the planets aren't that big. Whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm not looking for Lost River. I'm looking for a fire stick. Please find our lost fire stick. And let's see that these flicker madly. Again, I think it's going to be like way too much, but, well, I don't know. Does that look good and sparky to you? Like, oh my goodness, those are fireballs of death. Please don't touch them. It's kind of hard to tell, right? Well, you can see that innermost one. Yeah, for the outermost one, it doesn't matter because it's moving so fast. But for that inner one, goodness, he is flickering like mad. It might not come out on the whatever. So let's change that. Let's do. Ooh, I don't. I think there might already be like a sprite index thing. If I do that, it's gonna whine. Yeah, here we go. It hides an inherited member. So let's do something else then. What we want is like we have a radius, angle, speed. Yeah, what we really need is just a like sprite index cooldown. We'll set it to, I don't know. So let's set this sprite index. Yeah, so rather than overriding the method which just fetches the sprite index thing, we'll just set it, and that'll be fine. Assuming it's not private. It's protected, right? Yeah, protected. Okay, if that doesn't make sense to you, I'm sorry. But let's, so we want it to be the game RNG next. And if that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to you, what I've been doing here, so the game is a class I made. It's, Monogame has this game class, and when you start up a new Monogame project, it says XNA because Monogame is based on XNA, which, if you remember, was like the big framework that Microsoft had for, I think, just Xbox, the first one, right? I was going to say Xbox One, but that's different. Why did they do that? Anyway, so I think it was before 360. I'm trying to remember. I was never huge on Xbox development, so I was 0 on Xbox development, in fact, so I really don't remember how that all worked out. Anyway, Microsoft dropped XNA and Monogame as the replacement. So anyway, when you make a new Monogame project, they just give you a class called the game, and that's your default. So that's what I use. RNG is just a different random number generator. I don't remember what I was reading, but I think, as I recall, scattering like new random all over the place is bad because so random number generators. I don't know if you're aware of this. Are not super random. They're a little random. They're a little random. It depends on what you want. So if you make when you make a new random number generator, it kind of like seeds itself. The seed is the term that they use with a number, and they usually just use like what's the number of seconds right now or something. Which isn't from 0 to 60. It's like the number of seconds since 1970, January 1st, something probably, I don't know, or microseconds or whatever. The point is, it uses like a number, and then from that number, kind of does a bunch of funny math to get something off of that that feels random to you, and then it changes that seed based on some other semi-random. It's not really random. It's based on primes usually. I've never made a. Well, that's not true. I have made a random number generator, but it wasn't good. The point is, I don't want to say I'm an expert on how these things work. I understand the concepts. But anyway, so they're not as random as you might think. And so if you have, like, for example, a loop, like say I wanted to make 100 random numbers, these videos are turning into like part let's learn programming and part I don't know what I really need to think about like who's my audience here, right? Like, is this for people that don't know how to program, or is it people who do? I don't know. But if I made a new random number generator here and then asked for an X number, because computers can count super fast from 0 to 100, all of these are probably going to be indexed with the current time, but counting to 100 is going to be the same time every like a computer can count 100 real fast, right? In less than a second, in less than a millisecond. I don't know how fast. I haven't timed it. It's real fucking fast, right? So what's going to happen is that all of these number generators, or all of these 100 random numbers, are going to be the same because they're all seeded with the same number. And so what you should do instead is say, fine, here's my random R is a new random, and then keep using that one. Keep using the same one to get us a new random number, right? And I guess this would be my integer a that I want to use. These are bad names by the name. Call it, you know, RNG, random number generator. Anyway. So that's what I've kind of done. I just have like this basically global static random number generator that I just use everywhere in the code to generate my random numbers. I say that, but for generating levels, I actually tend to use something different, and this is something I should do. So let's go ahead and do this. Now that I've said that, I remember an important thing. Yep, here's one. So what am I talking about? The levels in Mysterious Space. When you visit a level, it generates it randomly, but it always generates it from the same seed. So just like I said, if you had two random number generators generated with the same seed, which is usually the time, but you could use any number. You can like specify a number, say I want you to use the number 1 or something. But every time you make a new random generator with the number 1, the series of random numbers you get are going to be the same. So we do that for levels. Rather than the game actually generating all the levels and storing them, because that would be huge, it just recreates it every time you visit randomly. I'm making air quotes with my fingers, you can't see. And that makes it so it's the same. It's the same randomly generated thing. But in order to accomplish that, you have to use the same random number generator, starting from the same point and generate everything in the same order, blah, 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 right? So each level has its own RNG, so that we ensure that it's always the same. And so that's why I remembered when I was talking about it. This is why it's great to talk about these things to you, because I catch my mistakes more often because I really have to think about what I'm saying. But anyway, we need to use that same random number generator. If this is a weird concept to you, that's because it is. This is more of those funny, like I was saying last time, like anyone, you can learn to program. You can just do it. It's not that crazy. But then there are things like this, right? And you're going, I don't really half understand what this guy's saying. How does anyone program? It's fine, it's fine, it's fine. This is getting like, this is a little, like this is a useful technique, a little tool, a little trick. But if you don't know it, you can still do cool things. It doesn't matter. So anyway, the fireballs need to be generated with the levels RNG thing. For the sprite index, don't care, right? I don't care what the sprite index is. It's purely visual. That doesn't need to be the same for every level, so I'm not going to use the levels random number generator. This represents the level that this fireball is on, like whatever. I'll just use the games, that's fine. But for something like how long is this fire stick, absolutely, that needs to be, we don't want it so that every time you descend onto the level, it's a different length. I mean, we could. That would be interesting, and maybe we don't want it for that case, but you could certainly imagine things like, oh, maybe you do. And you may have seen when I was in here, I happened to notice some other things that weren't correct. Yeah, like this one I just fixed up and didn't talk about it. So there's little ruined ships that appear now sometimes on levels. As you can see, that there's like some percent chance. But that, again, that shouldn't change every time you visit the level. Like, when you visit the level again later, the ruined ship should still be there or not, just like last time. So it should be using the level's random number generator. I was making air quotes again. So anyway, goodness. Keep talking. I'm crazy. I'm talking too much. All right, so here we have the sprite index cooldown. We'll set that to, how many times per second do we want to change? Like, let's say 10 times. So, well, here, let's do it this way. Frames per second, we want it 10 times. So that's going to be 6 because there's 60 frames a second. But if the frames per second of the game were to ever change, I would like everything to just change appropriately with it. But I know it's always 60, and I'm treating it as though it's 60. So whenever I divide by numbers, I'm like, oh, that doesn't divide by 60, so I'm going to change it. Like, it's never going to change, but for some things it might. And in fact, in mono game you can't change it. Mono game says I run it 60 frames. You want different? No, 60 frames. That's what you get. So anyway, so what we're going to do now then is we will say if what I call it, sprite index cooldown is greater than 0, then we're going to minus minus, else we're going to set it to the game FPS divide by 10, and we are going to change the sprite index to the game RNG next 4. Now, here's a kind of funny thing. It's possible, because there's only 4, that it picks the same one twice in a row, which might look a little wonky. Let's take a look at, what that looks like. Sometimes it happens with animations especially. Like, I had that problem with some enemies. I'm pretty sure. Do I have any enemies that are super random? I know I've seen that problem before with some of my animations, and so I had to do things like pick a random number, but make sure it's not the same as the last one, Hopefully we don't have to do that here. I think because they are spinning, it's going to be harder to notice, and you can really see it in that middle one. Let me stop moving. The one closest to the center, like, yeah, see, when it doesn't, then it looks kind of jerky. Yeah, it's not right. It needs to be not the same one, which is too bad, because that means we have to do extra code. God, things you have to do to make shit look right. Alright, anyway, let's, yeah, you know what, let's save and quit. We don't have to find it again. We can just load up that game, and this will be fine. So, what we're going to do is, what's the best way to do this? Let's do this. Int old sprite index will equals the sprite index. And we'll say if the new sprite index then equals the old sprite index, then we're just going to make the sprite index equal sprite index plus 1 mod 4. So we'll just go to the next one. Like, it's not a big deal. And you know what? Maybe it doesn't need to be random. Maybe they should just cycle through them all, Like, why do this whole silly random thing that makes it hard to keep track of? Because we've already done it? Because, I mean, what I'm thinking is that, like, why do all this when we could just do this? Just go to the next one and loop around within the 4, right? Look at that. It would be a quarter of the code. Let's see. Let's see if that's good enough. I'm worried that it might look kind of obviously repetitive, And the thing I'm doing here, so when I'm saying, oh, if there's a collision, just choose the next one, if you wanted an even distribution of random numbers, that's a bad solution. But for an animation, right, like, we don't care. Like, again, it really depends on what you're doing, so. Alright, I think that's probably fine. And honestly, the first thing where it was being a little jerky, like, who's going to sit here and stare at one of these and be like, oh, how does that look, right? Like, who's going to do that? The answer is no one, but maybe they will. It's good to polish those things up. So that's pretty good, right? That's good. This is a Fire Stick. It hurts me in the appropriate way, which is not too often, right? Not every single frame. The thing we want to do now, though, is make it so they're not just placed always in the same place and in the sky. We need to place on the level. Let me go find one. Right, these little guys. One of these little circle square blocks, and I'll center a Fire Stick on that. And I'll probably end up changing the spacing. It's hard to tell, right? Like right here, having you just kind of circle like that, I wondered if my shield would refresh before it came to hit me. But having that, gosh, so many enemies. Would you guys cut it out? Having that central one kind of move like that looks kind of funny right now, but maybe with the block it will look okay. I kind of predict it's going to have to move, but we'll take a look. So I don't need to save game anymore, and this was fine. Why do more code when we can do less? Like, part of me doesn't like it. I'm like, no, it's not random enough. It doesn't need to be random. It doesn't need to be random in this case, so there's no reason. So we'll choose a new sprite index. Yeah, I like the space there. for no reason in particular, even though, what's all this? Whatever. Good. So they all start out with a random one. That's good because we don't want them. If they were all in sync, I think that would definitely be kind of obvious. So that'll at least make them a little wobbly, and then we're good to go. Let me take a little drink of my drinky here. Been a lot of talking today. That's what happens when you do tabletop role-playing games. I would say Dungeons and Dragons because that's what people understand, but that's not what we were playing. And I say that because I know too much about role-playing games. Like, oh, Dungeons and Dragons isn't a very good role-playing game, and that's not even true. It really depends on the group. But I think the system lends itself to more action-based. If that's what you want, that's awesome. I love the more story-based stuff. I love getting into the characters. I mean, I don't do like voices and shit because that's too much work, and my voices are terrible. So I don't even try, and it's embarrassing. Who wants to do voices? God, but the game we're playing, I feel like I never thought. Okay, I never thought I would play vampire. That's what it is. We're all playing vampire. It's the nerdiest fucking thing, right? Like, but they're all a little nerdy, and it's good because the guy running the game is good. That's always what matters, and the people you're playing with. I think my favorite system is Mage, and my favorite system I haven't played enough of is Nobilis, where we all play as gods. Let's not ramble about these things. Like gods' weird things. I don't know. I could ramble about this forever, but I won't code at the same time. Coding is real hard. I wish I was doing anything that didn't require nearly as much focus, because then I could talk about stuff. But it's really hard to talk about stuff and code at the same time. Let's make Firesticks be on blocks. So here's a Firestick. I know we have something making them. Find all references. Where are you? Here you are. Add fireball sticks. Let's be a little consistent. Add fire sticks. We want to find a random solid piece of terrain which isn't a force field or spiky, and we're going to put a fire stick on it. I don't know if I have a method for that. Let's see. Find empty off-screen tile. Find aligned solid. No. Find flat surface. Find solid rectangle. A width or a height. Okay, we can do that. The problem is that we want, what's this? Find suitable tunnel start. How does that work? I don't have a description. Gets a random X, finds the first solid Y. So that's for finding something on, that's a tunnel that drills down. So that's when it's carving out the level. The way it generates levels is it picks a random position along the top, like a random X position, and it finds the first solid, where it finds ground, and then it drills down from there basically in a random way and carves out tunnels. So that's not what we want. What we really want is like a random surface that's on an edge, right? Because we don't want to put a fire stick in the middle of the level. But I don't know a good way to. Let me think about that. That's going to be kind of slow. Unless I've marked them. Ooh, I think I might have. I think when the game... Let me see. Where's Carve Tunnel again? Carve Tunnel. I feel like it marks the edges as like this is a boundary. Yeah, it always adds coins at the end of tunnels. Well, I think that's a sometimes thing, actually. Destroy terrain in circle. Clear terrain. I really thought there was something that, like, where I was keeping track of all the edge tiles because it's important information. God, am I thinking of another game I made? I can't remember. My kitten brain can't remember. I only say kitten brain because sometimes I talk to my cat. I'm a little embarrassed that I said that out loud. Everything is kitten because the cat. I have a cat who's not a kitten, but all cats are kind of dumb like kittens. They don't get any smarter. Is what I was saying. I do like my cat. Let's be honest, cats are a little dumb. But anyway, yeah, I really thought I had some kind of function. Find flat surface near. because the problem with find flat surface is that's intended for finding a surface where it can put some large wide object like the tops of the like the carved vertical tunnels for the mining worlds, or for placing outposts. I think maybe for trees even. Um, maybe what we need to do, and then instead, is that as it's carving, well, how do we place force fields? Add force field. Those must, if there's anything that, whoops, that is related to edges, this will have it. So num force field, blah, 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 add a force field. Distance from nearest force, if the distance from the nearest force field is less than 15, then continue. Then get out of here. Okay. It picks a random height, and then it keeps going to the left. And then, oh man, that's kind of bananas. This is not efficient. And it checks to the right, and it checks down. Gosh, so this is an example of like good enough programming. So it looks like what it does here. I didn't remember this. So we pick a random x position, then we find a random y within kind of a range, right? Like at least 10 from the top, based on how this math works out, but certainly at least 20 down, probably because I'm not expecting any dirt to be that high up. And then it just loops around the whole level on the x coordinate, right? Going right, 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 right. Keeps moving to the right, looking for an edge, basically. It checks to see, make sure there's solid terrain to the left and above, or either one. Wait, no. I don't know. Anyway, does a bunch of stuff. Finds line solid, sees if it go left or right. Choose one of them. Yeah, that's weird. I would make motions in the air with my hands, but that's hard. So anyway, the way it finds locations for force fields is kind of dumb, but again, it works, right? It's good enough. Who can tell? I couldn't tell. I don't even remember. So I think we'll just take a similar approach for Firesticks. I don't think we care if Firesticks are near each other. That just makes it more exciting. Although we wouldn't want... Something else I need to change is make it so that Firesticks, the speed can be negative. What's the speed? It's whatever is given to you. Okay, let's find that. Let's do that real quick, because that's easy. So speed equals... I think we want it to be 1, 3, and then times... well, let's just do it this way. If RNG next to equals 0, then speed equals negative speed, right? 50-50 chance that it's spinning the other direction, basically. Yeah, let's do a similar thing. Okay, here's the planet. So in order to find this, so we're going to do RNG next width, right? Like the other one. Yeah, and let's just find add force field, and maybe if t is not null, yeah, but it's gonna be sufficiently different that we're gonna want to do it a little differently. So start x, I is equal to 0, I is less than width, y equals next height. Why do we do that? I'm trying to imagine, what's this outer one for? Because we have an x offset. Sorry, I'm looking at this trying to figure out. I don't know what this outer loop is for. This is very old code. I added force fields forever ago. So let me think about this, because maybe I can take this out. So if I pretend this doesn't exist, are we going to run into any problems? Proof by contradiction, my favorite kind. Kind of. It's kind of like a proof by contradiction. So we start x, we get the width. Then we have this x offset. So we're going to try all of the widths. This is weird. Okay, if in the nearest force field, then we continue and we try the next x. Fine. If we didn't like this terrain because it was solid. We'll get the next one. That's if it's not null and it is solid. We don't like solid terrain, apparently. Fine, go around. If the left is empty or not solid and above is empty or it's not solid, get out of here. Return true, return true, return false. I really don't think this needs to be here. Let's try and comment it out. Let's do it this way. We can leave these curly braces, that's fine. And I'm gonna mark this as to do. To do. Put this back, which adds it. The to do things is really useful. See, look at this. Add fauna? Question mark for lava worlds. We don't have any fauna in lava worlds, but so this to do thing is really useful. I recommend highly. Score and award prizes for the gambling game, which I mentioned in the last thing and isn't in yet. Anyway, I don't think we need that. So anyway, I think I had copied it. So what we really want is this for our Fire Stick. Okay, find the new Fire Sticks. Here it is. So let's do a similar thing. Add Fire Stick. Okay, so t equals get terrain for this x and y position. Don't create it, and that's true. So we're looking for a solid piece of terrain that has some adjacent open space, right? Then we'll consider that good enough. So if t isn't, well, let's say if t is null or it's not solid, then continue, which means keep looking, go to the next x position, right? X position sounds like x position, but I mean the position along the x, not talking. So that's the thing that we wouldn't want. We also want to know about the adjacent terrain. So like let's see, t like has adjacent or something. Adjacent, do I have anything like this? Find empty offspring. Sloped terrain is adjacent. Tile has empty terrain orthogonally adjacent. That's what we want. Okay, so we don't even need the terrain yet for that. So if the tile has excellent terrain, okay, if it's not null and it is solid, the very one that we found, yeah, let's check both, because getting the terrain isn't hard to do. Let's just check both at once. So if it has a thing that's okay, let's do it this way. Sorry, I'm talking so much. Okay, so if you have a tile, if you found a tile here, and it's solid, and it has an empty terrain tile, which is orthogonally adjacent, then we're going to make a Fire Stick. And then we're going to make a Fire Stick. So we will do that in a couple ways. We will say set terrain to be, I don't remember. Do we have like a terrain force field end? That's what we want. Okay, so there's a force field end, and then we will place the Fire Stick at this xy coordinate. We should multiply by, I think that's it, tile, or I didn't know if I had like a, I feel like I have some sort of constant somewhere, so I shouldn't be multiplying by 32. I should be multiplying by that in case the tile size in the game ever changed. Again, is it going to? Probably not, just like the frames per second thing, but whatever, let's do it. So I think really that's good enough. I think that's the whole thing. Oh, and then if that's true, then return true, we made the thing. Else, if we failed to ever create a Fire Stick, right, if we go through this whole thing and we never find a, we're never able to find a good place, then we say, we failed. We tried this at this, Y position is the thing that never changes. We tried it at Y position, we never succeeded. Fine. So that makes us a bool. This is called add Fire Sticks. Really, this should be add Fire Stick, and then we'll make a protected void called add Fire Sticks, plural, where we say num Fire Sticks equals next, I don't know, 4. If num Fire Sticks is greater than 0, we don't really need to do that. For I is 0, I is less than num Fire Sticks, right? Add Fire Stick. Some languages, like I think Ruby, are very proud of the fact that you could do like add Fire Stick and I times, or you can do some funny magic like, I forget. pi times. I don't remember. Ruby's fucking crazy. I can't. I've tried to learn some of it, and I mostly failed. It's just so bizarre. It's not. It's not like anything I messed with before. But there's some people who absolutely love it. Sorry, take another drink there. All right. So now we should be adding from 0 to 3. This is another way you might do, right? Because this is going to be 0 to 3, so add 1 to make it 1 to 4. You could also do, right, the thing I was doing before, which maybe 1 to 4. Ignore that plus 1 that we need for computer reasons. I kind of like that because I feel like it's a little more readable to the intent. Again, whatever. Don't worry about it, guys. It's great. Everything's fine. All right, add the Firesticks. I just feel like I have to defend this because I know it looks stupid, right? And I'm like, no, look, it's okay. And again, like, I mean, this is how you program. It does look kind of stupid. But when you're a programmer, I guess you know. Make a fire stick. Oh, and we know it has to be solid. We want T is spiky. We want to set that to false. We could put it near spiky terrain. Is that too cruel? I don't think it is. Let's see how this works. So I don't remember. Did I do 1 to 4 or did I do 0 to 3? I did 1 to 4. Okay. So let's see what that looks like. You didn't see any weird text formatting. Everything is great. All right, but now we actually have to go hunting because I don't know where it's going to be. But hopefully it'll be on the edge and it'll look great. And so obviously every level isn't going to want to have 1 to 4. I'm going to want to change it up. Probably for the purposes of testing, I just should have said, give me 10 of them or something. But let's see what they look like. Whee! Well, I see one. There's one. So that's not quite centered, right? It looks like it's centered on the upper corner almost. Looks a little weird, I'm gonna be honest. I think that needs to be, okay, we need to shift things around. And I saw another one up here. What? That is not how it's supposed to be. How did that even happen? So there's a couple problems. Let's fix that one. Is that what? Oh, it's like angled or something. It's got a slope on it. Did you see that shit? I was like, yeah, I did notice that the bullet seemed to be going into a little bit, but I was just like, maybe that's just how it happens when you shoot bullets at walls. But yeah, it shouldn't. Like, I thought it looked a little weird, but it wasn't weird enough to make me go, there's something going on. But yeah, it's absolutely an angled wall. So let's fix both of these issues. So, okay, T slope equals, oh God, I forget, like terrain's no slope, right? And T can be sloped equals false? I don't think it smooths the terrain. I think this terrain smoothing has already happened. Let me find out. Add Firesticks, right. Pretty sure. Prettify terrain. Yeah, that's where the terrain smoothing happens. Yeah, so, where is it? Firestick, find references. Yeah, we don't need to worry about that. We just need to clear the slope if it exists. Don't be spiky. Have force. I think it was the sloping effect that was kind of changing the. It was doing it wrong, right? Like it wasn't expecting this graphic to be sloped, and so it kind of just messed up and chose a different graphic to try and be like, oh, in order to make it sloped in that way, I have to use, the graphic you said plus 4 or something because that's what that particular slope would be. So that's what was happening there. This won't work. Oh, but I can delete that. All right. Let's try this out. Oh, and I didn't change the offset problem. Let's change that as well. So this needs to be like halfway into the brick, right? We want it centered on the center. And I think actually it looked like it was already a little off the corner, but I already don't remember by how much. So let's just go looking again. Oh, Firesticks will be a greater pain in the ass in these levels. There's one. So, right, like that looks a little bizarre. What's going on here? Get out of my way. I think it's because, so these are 14 by 14 graphics, I think as we mentioned, pixels, 7 by 7, but times 2. So we should subtract 7, which is half of 14, off of 16, which gives us 8. No, I can't do math. I'm adding them. It's an odd number. It would be 9. I promise I know how to math. All right. Let's see if that's correct. Did that make sense? You guys listening to me ramble? Oh, I picked endless. Well, that works too. Okay. So let's see what happens. Whoa, 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 whoa. Excuse me, sir. Shooting your crazy stone bolts at me. I won't stand for it. We are correctly getting things at the end. Now, and see, you're like, okay, that solution was good enough. The problem is that I think I really need to have it marked edge tiles because it's going to get slow, right? To like look, because what again what it's doing is it picks a random spot. So let's say it picks, I can't point at the screen. Is my mouse up here? You know, let's say it picks like somewhere up here. Then it has to like check. It keeps going, no, 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 let's keep going to the right. Let's keep going to the right until it finds an empty spot. And then it says, okay, that's where I'll put the fire stick. What I would rather have is the level has a list of all of the edge tile coordinates. And then you just pick a random item out of that list because that's real fast. And you go, that's an edge, right? Like that is so much faster to do than going and finding them. And that would really be ideal. So also, this means fire sticks are always going to be on the left edge of a wall. That's not a problem for force fields because force fields always then span, to the opposite wall. That's why I didn't worry about it. But fire sticks are always going to be on the right now. Oh, that actually looks pretty good because it's like it hugs that like it just so happens that it hugs that black line. So one way we can fix that particular problem. God, do I want to do this the right way or the wrong way? So I could fix it the wrong way by making it so that it has a 50-50 chance of either zipping off to the left to try and find an edge or zipping off to the right. Also, well, right, and the reason it's on the top is because it looked for any adjacent and happened to find one. Oh, so maybe that's kind of okay. The good fix, the proper fix would be to do, freak out you guys, if you use your force field, or sorry, your attractor beam near creatures, they freak out. Anyway, the proper fix would be to have the level keep track of all the edge tiles. The problem is, what's the best way to do that? What I would really like, because it seems like it's probably faster, is that as it carves the level, it says this is the edge. The problem is that you have to kind of do that. How do you do that efficiently? See, it's either that, either try and keep track of it as the level gets carved out and modified, or after it's carved out the whole level, do a pass over the whole level and find the edges and save those in the list. The question then becomes, is it more performant to go over the whole level, which requires you to look at every single tile, make a bunch of evaluations, store the edge tiles in a list, or to only do it, or when you're adding a fire stick like this, you're probably not, because you're only going to add up to 4 fire sticks. You're only going to add maybe 7 or 8 or something. I forget what the max is that you get. Force fields, it seems unlikely that you're going to go over the entire level just to do them, right? So it sounds like, yeah, that's fine. The problem is, and here, this is another problem with random numbers. When you do it randomly like this, you don't know how long it's going to take, right? Like, because it's random. Maybe it finds it instantly. Maybe it happens to land on a spot. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it goes in the worst possible location, has to look through this whole long thing and never finds a spot or something. You don't know. Whereas if it counts up the whole size of the map, you know what that is. That's a fixed amount of time. Then when you pull a random item out of that list of edge tiles, you know how long it takes. It's a fixed amount of time. And so in some ways that's preferable. And you can, there are some times on some types of planets, I feel like ocean planets are the biggest offender, and I haven't figured out why, where it looks for a random tile on the edge of your camera, and because it kind of has to like keep picking when it fails, sometimes it lags a little bit. And again, that's just because in that, I think what's happening is that in that instance, the worst case scenario happened to happen, and that causes the most lag. Not the most, but well, yeah, the most, and to the point that it becomes perceptible. So, excuse me. Whereas if we had a fixed length thing, then you don't want the fixed length thing to be bad. Like, if the fixed length thing is going to be so much worse in terms of time always, well, then obviously that's bad. But usually it won't be. Anyway, the question is what to do here. And I kind of am tempted to just make it go in one way or the other. Yeah, let's do it. Int x offset delta equals, so if this is a 2, then, or a 0, then use -1, else use 1, plus equals x offset delta. And then, because as I mentioned in the last video, when you're subtracting, that behaves bad with modulus if you have a negative number, so make sure we don't. We're just going to add in a whole width, which has no effect on the modulo, except for when we have a negative number, we make sure it's positive. So now, when it's looking for a fire stick location, it can either go to the left or to the right. Perfect. That will make sure that they're a little more random in their placement. So the other thing to do then is to decide how many fire sticks should a planet have. I don't know. Let's do this. Let's make this a abstract protected void. Add fire sticks, and we'll leave it up to each planet type, how many fire sticks they want. Let's do that. All right, so I'm going to click run start because that's going to try and compile it. It's going to tell me their errors, and that's going to be fine. It's going to tell me all these planets. So barren worlds. Why aren't barren worlds telling us how many fire sticks they have? I don't know. Gosh, we better make it. So, you know what? Now that I say that, let's do this a different way. Let's do, oops, no, put that back. Protected int. We'll call this fire stick count. So we want something, we want to know how many fire sticks, and we'll have each level tell us how many fire sticks it thinks it should have. Yes, that is true. Okay, yep. I was kind of thinking, so, you know, as the depth of the level increases, should we have more fire sticks? There's a couple things to consider about fire sticks. This is a little weird. When the fire sticks are off camera, they're going to continue to update. Now, that's a really easy update, so I don't think that's a problem. But it is kind of something to consider, right? Like, we wouldn't want to have a level full of fire sticks because unlike enemies, like when an enemy gets far enough off camera, it just despawns. So we stop updating, we stop thinking about it. And that's great. Again, just to kind of save on processing power. I don't know if it's a problem. I could probably have 100 enemies on screen or something. I don't know, and it'd probably be fine. But we wouldn't want to just flood the planet with fire sticks for that kind of reason. They're always updating. They're always being processed. Again, we have a lot of spare processing power because this isn't the Nintendo days. I was going to say despite what the graphics may look like, but I mean, I think they're obviously better than Super Nintendo even. Is that true? I mean, not in terms of quality of art. Like, oh my, Super Nintendo graphics were like the height of sprites, I feel like. They just looked beautiful and amazing. Like, play Secret of Mana. Oh my god, the graphics are ridiculous. Or Seiken Densetsu, if you prefer. You know, I'm not going to say that the graphics are as good as that, but we have more colors, right? But anyway, let's tackle the thing. And I'm sorry, I ramble so much. So what was this? It was fire stick count. So for barren world, let's return 2 plus RNG next, or here, let's say 2 to 6. Let's give barren worlds lots of them because barren worlds don't have a lot going on. They're just very open. I'm going to do the same for desert worlds. Desert worlds actually have more enemies than others, which it's just a hidden thing. There's just a few more enemies than on other types of planets, and it's not even more. It's just the longer you stay on a level, there's like this threat level score that kind of increases, and that determines what kinds of enemies you see and how many of them. And the desert world just starts further along on that track. I think it's maybe a level higher. Like 1 or 2 more threat level. And there's that ship that says you face more enemies, and it does a similar thing. It adds threat level. Ice worlds start with a lower threat level, I believe, and that's because ice levels are cruel. Like the narrow tunnels, and I also intentionally put more spikes in those in ice worlds. So that makes there's a lot more terrain hazard, and you have to spend a lot more time going down narrow tunnels where enemies, because it's not open, you can't shoot enemies from as far away, and they just cruise through walls and hit you. It's real bad. So anyway, we will do fewer fire sticks on ice worlds because they're already terrible. Desert worlds have more enemies, but I feel like they're still pretty easy. This is going to be funny with the wind having the fire sticks. I kind of want forest worlds to maybe not have any. I don't know. I feel like we got to have some. Forest worlds, you got to have some plans for them. Haunted worlds. Oh my god. So haunted worlds should have them, and I want to make them be spooky instead. They shouldn't be red. They should be like, like icy blue or like purple or something crazy like that. But they should have fire sticks. But maybe not as many as other worlds. So let's do the 1 to 4. We'll do the 1 to 4. Ice worlds. I'm going to say ice worlds have no fire sticks because ice. That's fine. And I like the planets having different qualities. Lava worlds are already such a pain in the ass, but we'll just do the lava worlds are also a pain in the ass, but we'll do the 1 to 4. Or let's do 2 to 3. Make it a little more even. Lower maximum but higher minimum. Mining worlds, interesting. How do I feel about mining worlds having fire sticks? I worry that most of them are going to appear in those tunnels because there's so many of those tunnels. Like in terms of performance, they're going to find places all the time. It's like, oh, fire stick goes here. They're always going to be on the edges of those tunnels, and they're always going to be going in the wrong fucking direction. Because no matter which way, if it's in your favor going down, then it's out of your favor coming up. Whether it's clockwise or counterclockwise. And it's always going to be bad going one of the two directions because you'll be going against the fire stick. I feel like they're probably going to be a little unfair on mining worlds. That being said, I feel like mining worlds are too easy right now. It's just so fast to go through them. I'll find other hazards for mining worlds. I don't think I want fire sticks to be one of them. I would love for mining worlds because they were supposed to be like all these factories. I need more like power line decorations or something. Mining worlds need a lot more flavor to them, and I think it would be great if they had heavy cloud cover and like acid rain, whatever effect that would be, and lightning and thunder. Like it should be a horrible atmosphere because it was factory planet for a period of time. Ocean world. Yeah, let's put some fire sticks in the ocean world. I'll put fewer of them. We'll do 0 to 3. Yeah, that's fine. You could say that it should depend on the width of the world. Like a very wide world, we'd want more of them. I don't remember the possible widths. Let's leave this for now. This kind of makes later levels easier because the fire sticks will be sparser. No, yeah, I absolutely need to have it based on width, but I don't remember the widths that planets tend to be. So let's find out. Width. Thanks. Where did that come from? Find references. Like, where is it assigned? Width equals, here we go. So 30 to level C depth, but it can't be more than 640. So anywhere from, let's do the math, 30 times 8. So anywhere from 240 to 640. 640 is a lot wider. Also, it's possible that there's like a plus 24 in there, but who cares for the first? No, I think it starts at 0. So 240. If we had a level twice as wide, we would want twice as many fire sticks. That's absolutely true. So let's say that we're gearing toward 35 times 8, which is kind of the average, right? Except once again, this is actually 30 through 39 because random numbers. But anyway, let's just pretend it's not. It'll be fine. 280. So yeah, I mean, let's do this. Let's moving this off camera. Let's go back to the mining world. Let's go back to fire stick count. Find all references. We're going to multiply this by the width of the level and divide by 280. Right? So that way, if the width is like 560, then that's twice, right? 560 divided by 280 will be 2, so we'll have twice the Firesticks. It'll be based on the width of the level, and that'll be fine. Honestly, there's more things in the game that should probably be doing precisely this thing, but they're not. So the game is interesting in ways that maybe we aren't anticipated. Why can I not click on the calculator? Here we go. All right. Okay, so that has the number of Firesticks scale with the width of the level in interesting ways. In a lot of cases, this isn't going to do a whole lot, but it's fine. Also, it's conceivable that we're less than 280. If the level is really narrow, then there's less Firesticks. That's fine. I can live with that. It's fine. If you happen to get a really... Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's totally fine. All right. And then make the Firesticks. Okay. Dude, I think we got a thing. Do we want to try this out? I don't remember. So ocean worlds maybe have Firesticks. Oh! The other thing, haunted worlds want different colored Firesticks. So when we make the Firestick, add Firestick. Yeah, and we also want the Firesticks to be different shades of red, right? So here's the color of the ball. Let's do this. We want, let's say, fireball, spinning fireball dot new color. Let's pass it the level because that's an important factor. So we're going to make a static here. Public static RGBA. What do I call it? New color with please give me a level. So if L is a haunted world, then we're going to do different colors, else we're going to do normal shit. So let's open up, gosh, I guess MS Paint will do. Oops, sorry, let me get this on camera. So what am I doing right now? We need to know the hue, saturation, luminosity for, let's do red first. So we want a color like, we want full red. So that is a hue of 0. Let's see what this is. Whoops. So it's hue, saturation, luminosity. The problem is, I want both of these things on camera, right? Because I want to see this number over here, but I also want to see my code. So, and I'm also going to want calc. All right, we're going to use some tools here. All right, so let's do the thing. We're going to return new RGBA, or sorry, I think it's like color util HSL. Yeah, it's weird. So I have this. There's a lot of places in the game where I want to do things by hue, saturation, luminosity, because sometimes I want to change the hue, but I want to keep the saturation and luminosity constant. This is one of those cases. We want a hue, and unfortunately it's reflected in floats. We want a 0 here. So our saturation is 240, but here's the problem. It's got to be 240 out of 255, because that's the max. So we want 0.94, 0.94F. And then F meaning it's a float, not a double. If you don't know math, don't worry about it. Or sorry, if you don't know programming. Whoops. 120 divided by... I can never tell if I should be dividing by 256, but in this case, who cares? It's such a small thing. What was that? 47? Do you remember? Can you tell me? There we go. 47. All right. And then we want that to be 2 RGBA. So that's a little wonky, right? We want a new hue saturation HSL, hue, saturation, luminosity thing, but we want to convert it to an RGBA. That's a function. And this is a class I made just to store this. You can look up the math for how to do that. Look at this madness. Who knows how to do this shit? That's what the internet's for. So use the internet. So that's how we will get this. And here's the thing. We want this to be a little bit random, right? We want... Oh, God, does it work if the hue is negative? I think I did use a negative value before. So I think what we want here is we want RNG. Oh, well, here, this can be, okay, next. We want next, sorry, we want like next double, I think. Yeah, next double multiply by 0.2 and subtract 0.1. And that should be a float. So what are we doing here, right? So we're multiplying by 0.2. So we're going to have 0 to 0.19999. We want to subtract 0.1 so that we get a value between negative 0.1 and positive 0.09999, basically, right? Almost 0.1. It'll be close enough for our purposes. and that'll give us a random value around 0, right? Because we might want a hue a little less to get into the like close to the purples, and might want it a little more to get us up toward the yellows. And actually, maybe the purples are a bad idea anyway. Maybe we should only go up into the yellows. So let's do that, and that's a little easier because then I don't have to worry about whether or not negatives are going to work there. I think the math probably makes it work inside, but I don't remember because I think I've used it before in other code. Whatever. So this will only get us into the oranges. Now, if we're talking 20%, what do you think that is? Like, well, we can find out. What's 0.2 times 255? 51. If we go up to a luminosity, oh, does luminosity only go to 240 anyway? Do all these values go to 240 and I'm a crazy person? Oh my god, I think they do. That would make this a 1. And that would make this a 0.5. I did not realize this. Why is it only up to 240? That's stupid and I'm angry. Okay. It's fine. So anyway, 120. So anyway, what we're saying, what was I trying to figure out? Yeah, I want to know if 0.2 is a reasonable amount or if that gets us like way into the yellows. So what's 0.2 times 240? It's 48. 48 gets us up. Ooh, yeah, it gets us way too high, right? We're going to be into the greens. We really want, I think we just want 0.1. Let me find other places where I call. What about all this shit? Hue 0. Adjacent planet colors divided by 360. Oh, but that's because I went up to 360. Okay. Next 256 divided by 256. Fine, that's my fault. No, see, no. 240. I've done some things wrong here. This should be 240 divided by 240, which makes this a 1. Like, if I divide 256 by 254, then fine, then that's what I did. But same thing here. That's actually 144 out of 240. We're learning things today. That's 0.6. 0.6f. I suspect we're going to have a similar thing. Divided by 240. There we had a 240. Next double divided by 2. Okay. Yep, here. Yep, I knew we were going to have another one of these. Okay, so what was that? Because that was for the I guy. This is the same, right? Don't those look like awfully similar numbers? I did this kind of recently. 1. Ew. Interesting. What's 0.94 times 255? 240. Okay, so yeah, that's a 1. And what's 0.31 out of, oops, 255? 79. What's 79 out of 240? It's 80 out of 240. Okay, so it looks like this should be 0.33 and this should be 1. I guess, see, the difference is so small because 240 is very close to 256, right? So that's why we're not noticing these things. Okay, I think we've fixed all these up. That is interesting to note. Okay. Tunneling Taurus, cloaking core guy, type colors fine, cloaking core, yep. Okay, anyway, sorry, so that was a fun little adventure. Okay, so this is actually the normal color. What we want for Haunted Worlds is I'm thinking that we should do something in the blues up here. So, same saturation and luminosity, which is fantastic. But this is going to be different. So let's let it get a little green if it wants. So let's say, yeah, it's like 96 out of 240. 0.4, I can live with that. So let's start from 0.4. But how much do we want to add to that? What would get us up to like here? What's 130 or something, or 120 out of 240? That's half. So we want to, okay, so this is correct. So we want to add up to 0.1 to get us up to half. Okay, and then we'll get blues. I mean, we don't want to go so far because it's per fireball on the stick, and that would like we'd be thrown way off. We don't want like every ball to be a totally different color. But I do want Haunted Worlds to have a different color fire stick. So let's test some of this out. I can use some cheats to make travel free. Oh, and sorry, let me recenter some of these things for you guys. Mr. Space, that's centered enough. All right, let's try this out. Let's see what we got on. Good, and these should have lots of fire sticks, right, for reasons. Because Desert Worlds do. Give me that fuel. I don't know why I'm playing for realsies, but I am. I feel like I was talking about something else before, and I was like, man, I wish I could ramble, but I'm too busy programming. While I'm playing is the perfect time, but now I don't remember what it was, so that was me using my... There we go. So there's a little guy. He's red. He's spinning. Okay, and honestly, that's good enough for me. Whoa! You look a little bananas, sir. That is too much variation in your color. I mean, maybe that's kind of fun. It is kind of funny. Also, why is the length so short? These guys need to be longer. Like, that is not scary enough. Yeah, let's make fire sticks longer. That's a thing. And also... I'm surprised that 0.1 is that much of a difference. Where's MS Paint? Right, so 0.1 times 240 is 24. From here to 24. Well, no, that's pretty solidly into the orange. I mean, it's fine. It's kind of funny. Maybe another possibility would be to make them kind of like shift through the colors, Let's worry about that later. For now, let's just leave this. Well, I'm already here dealing with colors. Maybe they should. In which case, what we want to do is give them a hue to start with and have them in a sinusoidal fashion, right? Yep, let's do that now. Let's have them kind of shift through colors because that'll be more fun. So, new color. What calls you? That's your color. Really? A spinning fireball? Because right now we're treating it as a bullet. Passes down a color. New color util HSL hue, and then what? No, we were always using what 1 and 0.5 2 RGBA. Okay, and what we want you to give us is float base hue. Right, so we'll call it base hue. We have to pass down a color to the parent constructor. That's what this does. Right, we give the spinning fireball the hue, but what the bullets want is what is my color, so we have to pass that down. Well, we're going to end up changing that. I don't know why my nose is a little plugged up. I hope I'm not getting sick or something. I was already sick for like ever a few weeks ago. That was like a full-on flu. That was unpleasant. So that's not coming back. But anyway, I don't think so. Anyway, we want its current hue. So let's just say hue. And let's have... That's not exactly what we want. We want to call this like... It's almost like an angle, but it's not really. Let's just call it hue. It's fine. No, it's not fine. Because... No, it is fine. That's going to be the middle hue. And then we will choose a hue offset. And the hue offset will be a random number. If we want it to cycle through the whole thing in a second, I think that'll be fine. So, which is FPS. Get hue. For Haunted World, we're going to return 0.45F, right? That's in the middle. From 1 a random, right, so starting from 4, anywhere up to 1. That's a float. And then here we're going to return 0.05f. And so we're always going to have a variation of 0.5 in either direction, which is 1. I think this is the height of sine 1, or is it 2? We'll figure it out. Okay, so this sets the color, and then on update, we want to do the hue offset equals the hue offset plus 1 times, or mod hue offset, I should say, or mod, where's my percent %d? Mod FPS, right, so we keep it within 60. I told it modulus is useful everywhere in code. It's amazing. It's a great tool. Use it. And then what we want to do is set the color to equal new color util HSL hue plus math sign of hue offset. And then the saturation is 1, C 0.5, and then we need to go, what, hello? There we go, to RGBA. Right, doesn't like that because it wants floats, and sign returns a thing. So the only thing I'm not sure about is if signs, so if we get pi, what's the sine of pi? Maybe that wasn't what I wanted, 3.14. What's the cosine? It does. It gets up to positive 1, and if we do, oh god, negative 3.14. Oh, 0 cosine? 1. Oh, does it not, what's half of 3.14 divided by 2? Cosine. Cosine D. Why is it cosine D? Oh, is it doing it in degrees? 3.14. Give me the cosine. What? I don't understand what's happening. Why is this not just sine and cosine? I don't remember. So what I'm trying to find out is, does sine go up to 1 and down to negative 1, or does it go from 0 to 1? And I honestly don't remember. I'm embarrassed. I'm going to look it up on the sine in Wikipedia. Show me. I'm doing this on another screen because I have a lot of tabs open. I can't think off the top of my head if I care about sharing them. Do I? Dashboard. Some stuff. Whatever. Let's not think about it. So I'm going to look it up. It goes from 1 to negative 1. Okay. Thank you, Wikipedia. So if we're going from 1 to negative 1, but we only want to add 0.1 in either direction, right? The range we have is 0.1. So I think that means we need to do this, right? So we can go up to plus 0.05 or minus 0.05. That gives us a range of 1 off of our hue. Fantastic. This is a little weird. I think what I want to do is don't even worry about it. Do like transparent. It doesn't matter. And then update color. We'll make that a thing. Alright. This is why I want to do this later. Alright, it's fine. So that gets us a new color based on the hue offset. We don't need to calculate because we're calculating it wrong, so fine, just do it transparent. We'll set it down here after we've set the hue offset. And then I think we're good. I think that sets the color. There is going to be an error because I had a function that's returning a float that used to be returning a color. Here it is. What are you angry about? Does not contain a definition for new color. Oh, it's like get hue. Yeah. Okay. Maybe that's good enough. Well, let's try it out. Okay. Forest worlds. Forest worlds don't have any. Desert. Excellent. Alrighty. What time is it? We're getting close to an hour. Sorry, I was looking at the time, so I hit some spikes. Hello, force field. Hello, num num item, tasty treat. Hi, did you see that beehive? It's a bug that I've known about for a while, and I still need to fix? Another video. Oh look, there's a ruined ship. You know, off the edge of the terrain. Don't worry about it. That's technically a bug. Oh my god. So it looks like it's flickering way too fast. I can think of some reasons. One of them we can fix without restarting the whole thing or redoing the whole game. So hue offset goes up to 360 or to 60. So we want to multiply by pi, and we want to divide by the game frames per second. But that's a full circle, so we want to divide this by 2, and if we divide by dividing by 2, then you multiply by 2. Okay, sorry, that's how you convert degrees into radians, which is what sine wants. Okay, let's continue this game. So there you go, you can see they're kind of pulsing through colors. It's a little awkward on the red desert, right, to see those? It's a little unfortunate. They're absolutely shifting through the colors, and it looks like a whole cycle in a second is fine, and they have random offsets, so I mean that's fun. It is a little hard to see on the desert. It's possible that what we want to do is store Firestick color as a property of the level. We can do that. So let's get back to Solution Explorer. So I have this, like, there, it's called biome, where I have these different colors, different things, right? What color should the lava be? What color should the water be? Blah, 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 blah. We also want what color should, or let's do an int, we should do Firestick hue. And I think I've been using fire capitalized stick, right? Yeah, Firestick hue. So we want, and that's a float. Firestick hue is a float. So for most things, I think it's safe. So where's force field color? So here, for Firestick hue, I think for most things we can do the 0.05F, right, which puts us in the middle of red. Forest worlds don't even have them, so, but whatever. We'll put it in. It's easy to do. Force field color. Okay, so for deserts it's a little harder. So for this one, let's take a look. Dark goldenrod and khaki. I wonder if we should be doing a darker red, which would suggest that actually what we want to do, we kind of want the whole HSL, don't we? Yeah, we want it to be an HSL, which is only defined on color util, which kind of means we could do an RGBA and turn that into HSL. Can I do that? Let's just do RGBA red to HSL. I think you can do a new color util HSL from the color and get a thing. Float, fire, stick, hue, fire stick, luminosity. I'm just going to do it this way. I don't think I need saturation, but I think that on desert worlds, the way we'll make it stand out is to make it be darker than the background. So it'll be like dark red, you know. For most things, the luminosity is going to be 1, so I don't mind setting a default. We'll only override it when we need to. So blah, 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 blah. For deserts, okay. So we want the fire stick hue to be the 0.0F still, but we want the fire stick luminosity to be different. So where's good old MS Paint? So we're going to want it to be like down here. So it was like 120. We want it like halfway. I mean, that's easy. It would be 60. Let's put it a little higher. Let's see what's 80 out of 240. Bunch of 0.3s. Okay, let's do that. So let's make it 0.333. That's going to be enough precision for anyone. For red deserts, I feel like, you know what? Maybe another solution is to make it more, maybe we just make the color more gold than red, you know? Like maybe we go into the yellows? Well, but the sand is yellow. But maybe for these ones we do. What's 30 out of 240? 125? For the red deserts, make it yellow. I think that's the right thing to do. So it was 125. but we also want to subtract, or is that a good middle? That's probably a good middle. So let's just do that. White deserts, we can go back to being red. Okay, desolate rocky can be normal red, absolutely, the bright, bright red. Oceans, be the bright, bright red, that's fine. Purpley oceans, be the bright, bright red. Ice, I don't think we have any there, but again, we'll put in a value. Rock, ice, whatever. Lava. So lava is another place where we're going to want the dark version. So, because otherwise it's totally going to blend. And in fact, let's make it yellow, and let's do the luminosity to be 33F. Okay. I think there's only one lava. Yep. Good. So for mining, I think we can go back to 0.05. Gosh. Should have known. Anything to do with color, got to do it this way. Haunted Worlds. Yeah, we're finally in Haunted Worlds. Do you remember what it was for Haunted Worlds? I don't remember what it was for Haunted Worlds. Where is it? There we go. 45045. Okay. And that's it. All right. Goodness. Okay. So for this, what we really want is return L biome force, or no, fire stick hue. Thing is, we don't need a function to do that for us anymore, because nothing's really being done. This was the best way to do it. What a fool I've been. Why does it say hue is never used? Base hue. Seems interesting. Hue equals base hue. I guess because it was defaulting to 0 when we started at 0. Yeah, see, we were doing everything wrong. Okay. What? Float. No. Obs, you should be a float. All right. What? Is never assigned to. Is assigned to right here. I think it might be crazy. Okay. Biome cannot have an instance, blah, blah, blah. Oh, well. Now we're going to have to go and define it everywhere. Okay, it doesn't have a thing called getHue. Okay, I don't think we need to get the hue because we'll know what level it's on all the time. So we don't actually need to pass in a base hue, now that I think about it. The base hue equals level biome firestick hue, which also means we really don't even need that, honestly, because we can just do that right here. Level biome, right? Level biome firestick hue, and then we can also have up here, this is the luminosity, HSL, that's a saturation, luminosity is here. Level biome firestick luminosity. Okay, so we don't need to keep a hue at all. Excellent. Is this interesting? I feel like we've kind of done a little bit of a boring part here, haven't we? Let's see how it works out. All right, let's see if we got the right colors. Oops. Ocean. Oceans don't have any fire sticks? Or they can have fire sticks, but they might not. Desert. Excellent. I love that we get desert so often. Whoa! Okay, so it's darker, which is what we wanted, and we can see that the colors are indeed shifting. That's good. Okay. I mean, I think that's pretty good. The only other thing I would say, so first of all, wow, that's moving fast. Stop it. I think that's max speed right there. I kind of wonder if they shouldn't be allowed to move that fast. Certainly not on early levels, right? I mean, on the other hand, I just have to not touch it, right? I think it's probably fine. It's probably fine. Except when you're slowed. Okay, let's get to a haunted world and check out the colors there. Make sure the colors there are correct. So I need to put this in debug, and there's like travel for free. That's a thing. Yep, travel free is true. Let's not enable these. These are some debugging options I have. Always invulnerable is a bad choice. Turns out it's hard to win because if there's bosses, you can't kill them because they're invulnerable too. So we want a haunted world. Here's a haunted world. Let's see if we can find a fire stick. Let's see if it's blue. A cold, evil fire. Yeah, I just need to hurry because this is going to be bad. I'm out of my depth. Literally, if you consider, you know, the term depth. I don't know, it's more of a classic rogue thing, but anyway. Nope, nothing here. Things B. Do not want. I'm surprised I missed that guy. Alright. Thank you. Again, not that I need the coins or the pickups, but it's too easy. Here we go. Oh, that's too dark. No, that won't do. Why are you so dark? Oh no, I know why you're so dark. No, I should have saved because this change, well, I don't know. Anyway, back to the biome. So the problem is that I didn't assign values for these. So anywhere that I didn't specify luminosity, saturation, luminosity, yes. Luminosity needs to be 0.5. Luminosity, 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 Firestick Q, luminosity, Firestick Q, luminosity, 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 so many luminosities, luminosity. Okay. Yeah, I didn't need to start a new game for this, but that's okay, because we can just go to Haunted Worlds, as you saw. Don't want ice, or ocean, or desert. I'm sure that's very nice. Gosh, I don't want to have... There's one. Okay. I don't want to go, like, so deep in that just I get murdered by enemies, although it'll probably be fine. This game's not that hard. It's a little hard. My friend and I beat it pretty consistently. Did you see that lightning? Good, I killed a fool. I don't know why I went backwards. It's not a super efficient way to, Yeah! How's that? I like that. It's a bad fire stick. Good, there's fire sticks. So here's the other thing. I absolutely want them to be longer. And I think... Thank you, lightning. I think I want that to be based on planet type. So let's go to spinning fireball again, which is based on the fire stick. Where we say new fire stick and we select a length, let's do the speed. A speed of 3 is pretty cruel. The length can be up to 10. Why are we not getting 10s? I think 4 is just too short. I think it's boring. I think we should do at least 6. Maybe that's all we need to do. I was wondering if it should depend on the depth. But no, because that would be hilarious on endless mode when you have fire sticks that span the whole level and the outer ones are just moving so fast. Be very bad. Let's just try this. Let's see what a length of 6 looks like. I don't even need to like go super deep for that. Yeah, we can just go to this desert world. It would be good to test more types anyway. See, because that's kind of still hard to see. So that's very fun. Get out of here. I don't know if this means the lumen... Oh, this is kind of funny, too. It's like right next to the other thing. I don't know if it needs to be darker or maybe more white, actually. Like, maybe it wants more saturation, but then I have to start passing that around, too. Or maybe it just needs to be... You know, here, let's print screen. I want to print screen when it's kind of overlapping both. Yeah, like that. And let's see what that looks like and think about what kind of colors we could have, right? So, like, what would a nice, orange look like? No, this isn't very good. Let's use, where's fireworks? So, orange is going to be bad. I mean, maybe a dark red works here too, honestly. Let's see, if we do, like, the darkish red, tolerance, I don't know, 32, sorry, you can't even see what I'm looking at down there. Right, like that, hard. Yeah, I think that kind of, right, because of the color. Right? A dark red stands out a lot better here. I think this needs to be dark red. It keeps doing that because the color is so similar. I told it to have a little bit of tolerance on the... So anyway, I think dark red. The question is, what kind of desert was this? I don't honestly know. If that's a red desert, it looks like a red desert. Let's see the biomes. I've got so many different types here. Red desert. Probably. So the foreground dark goldenrod, the background dark goldenrod, and the foreground is khaki. That actually might be what it was. Versus background chocolate, foreground sandy. Well, let's see. So where's a? I have a thing with all the colors. Oh no, I don't have it bookmarked currently. I used to have it bookmarked. When did I get rid of that? So this is like monogame color table or something. That's what I want. I want to see what all the different colors are for this. There used to be a thing. I feel kind of bad scrolling off screen. I mean, what are all my things? Whatever, it doesn't matter. Here you go. Look, you can see my Firefox. Ooh, isn't that... Oh, we got anime, we got Doctor Strange. I need to watch that. I haven't been learning Unity as much as I should be, but... Anyway, where is this... There's some sort of color thing. I don't remember what it was called. There was some site that had, like, a great table of colors. Maybe we should say, like, list of colors. It might be that the correct search engine uses Google. Yep. Here we go. This is what we wanted. This isn't sorted by... There was a better one I found once. But anyway, so what color was this saying? Chocolate and sandy brown. Chocolate and sandy brown. Doesn't look like sandy brown, does it? I mean, yeah, there's some randomness that happens there. And chocolate for the background? Chocolate? I see the chocolate here. Do you think that background was chocolate? Ooh, it looks awfully chocolate. What was the other one? What was the other background? Dark goldenrod? Sure, we'll pretend that's a thing. Dark goldenrod. Put it out into a thing. Anyway, that is absolutely not the background. So yes, so this was a red desert. So on red desert, we already reduced the luminosity. I guess we got to reduce it more. So I was looking at, sorry, let's put this back on. I was looking at this dark red here, which is luminosity of 72. 72 out of 240 is 0.3. So why was it not that dark? I think part of the problem might be the transparency that I have going on. Let's just bump it down to 25. We need a red desert. It's getting dangerous. We don't want to be this far out. I don't know. Well, maybe that was a red desert. That's definitely a white desert. Mining, that's... Okay, so yeah, that's the khaki one. So this is the red desert. Okay, let's check it out. There's one. The yellows are actually bad. I feel like what we prefer is the red color, right? The yellows blend in too much. Stop it. And certainly the weird greens it gets into. What's that about? So let's make that be more on the red side again. It's possible that this was supposed to be 075, right? I may have just bumped it too far into the greens on accident. I feel like at some point I just need to do this on my own, right? Like having you guys look at silly me playing with colors. Oh, is that the right kind of desert? Yeah, it's the right kind of desert. You know, I mean, how interesting is playing with colors? Not very. But this is the sort of thing that programming involves. Now you know. It's also been about an hour, so I need to wrap up soon. But I think it's basically done, right? Like, except for this color thing, we've got Firesticks. They spin. That length was a little better, right? The length of 6. Again, let's find another one. I worry a little about the speed. That'll require some play testing. If I could find a Firestick. But I think we're doing pretty good. And I'm going to want to test the other planet types too, like lava. Make sure it looks good there. My suspicion is that it won't. Although honestly, if I just did black for the lava worlds, that would probably be fine. All right, I mean that looks pretty good. Yeah. I think that's fine. I have to admit, it looks a little weird to me that they don't have the black outline. Everything else has a hard outline, right? And those don't. So that's probably something else that I want to change. That'll also make them stand out more. It's possible that solves all the problems, really. But that's a good length, certainly at that speed. I like Firesticks, they're fun. And they count as bullet damage, which is interesting. And you can't disable them right now. If those are hit, they're not going to disable the... And maybe that's fine. Maybe EMP bullets don't, but I would like them to. Let's test that. So let's see what happens, because I think something is going to happen. This guy starts with EMP. Oh, well, we don't have to do... Well, whatever. Here's Desert. Let's see this Desert World, too. Alright, because he starts with EMP. Fuck you! Sorry. I like killing force fields. Let's see. Yeah, this is a funny ship. Nope. Here's some fuel. Oh, look, it's already been disabled somehow. I must have, like, a stray shot. So it disables it, but doesn't affect the force field on it, which is... Are my EMP bolts going through that guy? What's going on? What? What? What's happening? Why are my EMP bolts completely going through this guy? Come here. What's going on? Did I mess something up? What? I don't understand what's happening right now. Did I mess up bullets somehow? I mean, I was recently messing with bullet collision for the force field. I think I messed it up. But my other bullets weren't. Why would only the EMP? But they hit terrain? Something exceedingly bizarre is happening right now, and it's weirding me out. So I changed bullets a little bit, because these things are bullets, right? What did I change? Let's, Mysterious space. Sorry, I'm a little off screen. That's okay in this case, I want it to be. But let's check out, what did I change about bullets? I've changed a lot. So this is TortoiseGit. It's a client for doing, committing stuff to repositories. Anyway, so we have the is alive. Yeah, I changed the is alive stuff, because some bullets don't collide. On creature collision, life is 0, which should make it get removed. I mean, other bullets are. What's different about EMP bullets? It's possible EMP bullets override on creature collision, and now they're not setting life to 0. No, but I think they just deal EMP damage instead. None of this looks like it should have broken that. Let's see what's going on here, because that's a little bizarre. We want things, bullets, EMP bullet, on creature collision. Doesn't override. See, that's what I'm talking about, when you don't override stuff. I was talking about this last, I keep wanting to say episode, but in the last video, I was talking about, you know, that one time it's like, well, I don't want this to override. And in this case, I absolutely do. Or in this case, I don't, but again, like, it's not obvious. It seemed that I was doing something harmless, right? But in fact, I wasn't. So life needs to still equal 0, and let's find everything else where this is overridden. So, right, like, I made that change, and I thought it was okay. Knockback bullets, fine. Blinding bullets. On, yep. Base on creature collision, right? So it calls the base where life is set to 0, but some of these don't. Like this one doesn't, because it doesn't do any damage. But the life does need to be set to 0. Yeah. I made mistakes, but it was still slowing them, which is funny. It was just absolutely going through them. Yeah. Okay, this one calls the parent. This one is different. Wait, on creature collision, we don't want it calling, yeah, definitely don't call the parent. This one we also don't want to, also definitely don't call parent method. Um, but we do want it to do damage. Yeah, right, we moved it. That's what happened. Um, but the fire stick is a different sort of thing. Yeah. See what messing? I told you it's dangerous. It's dangerous to use inheritance, especially when you're not. Almost always, you just need to call the parent method. But in this case, we don't want to. And see what that tells me is the fact that I got in trouble doing that is that and let's run the code. Now it's going to work. Those EMP bullets will work. I need to handle that differently. Like some refactoring needs to happen there. So God. Well, now I can't test it because they're all dead. Oh, hi Chip. Where's some enemies? I need to test you. I mean, those I never collided with. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Now we're EMP. Now our EMP shots are hitting them. Okay. Well, good. We broke a thing and we fixed a thing. Wasn't that exciting? So anyway, I think I'm basically prepared to call this done. Like, the graphics probably need some tweaking. Done in terms of video purposes. We don't need another video where I tweak graphics. I think we already spent plenty of time choosing colors, right? I worry that that was a bit super boring. So I apologize for that. Um, I'll probably rewatch to make sure. And then I'm going to need to do some details like when I knock those out, I think that needs to make the fire stick go away. So anyway, but this is basically done. Thank you very much for watching. And yeah, I think that got a little slow. Like I kind of feel like I need to automatically apologize because you watch me program a lot, and I don't know how super interesting that is. But even if you found the programming interesting, you probably didn't find picking the correct hue interesting. So, yeah, if you stuck through everything though, fantastic. Thank you. When I do another of these videos, I will try and be more self-aware about what I'm doing in that regard because I definitely don't want to give you super boring things all the time, especially for something which is already a little like borderline. This is interesting. Who knows? But again, thank you for watching, especially if you made it to this point. And I hope, as I said last time, you were looking forward to another Mysterious Space update with Firesticks and whatever else I put in the changelog. I don't remember. Segments, more enemies, more subroutines. They'll be great. I don't know what else I'm adding. It's going to be a mixed bag. Maybe I'll go back to the funny gambling game I was going to add to stores. Maybe I'll work on the mothership, the mouse-only player option, because I think that would be really interesting. Um, yeah. Anyway, thank you again, and goodbye.